Okay, dann können wir wieder zum Lager zurück. Natürlich damit Schnellreise. Wir sind ja nicht verrückt. Eike?
Ja.
Sollen wir jetzt schon unsere Gedanken dazu sagen oder wollen wir erst warten, wenn wir
Nach
hier,
der Cutscene.
nach dieser nächsten Cutscene?
Woohoo! I'm back!
Und alle so, nein.
Cyrus doesn't seem to be here. He must have headed up the mountain. Let's wait for him here.
Amber, are you feeling better?
Yep, all good now. Nothing to worry about.
I don't know what I'd do without you guys. If not for you, I'd probably still be locked up in that cage. I really want to thank you all properly, but I can't think how at the moment.
Huh? You must be pretty used to being on the receiving end of people's kindness by now, though, surely. You probably need it often enough, given your situation.
Come on, don't put it like that. Sure, plenty of people have shown me kindness before, but that doesn't mean I will ever take it for granted. No matter how many times people help me out in life, I will never forget any of them.
Well, instead of repaying those who helped you, perhaps you could help others yourself. Everyone meets others in need from time to time. By choosing to be there for them, you're passing the kindness you received onto others.
Ja, das Glücksprinzip.
Yup, you're right. That's what I've always tried to do, and will always continue to do. Right. And when Cyrus gets back, I'll find some way to help him out too.
This has been quite an eventful day.
Yeah, it has. It's really hit me how tired I am now that I've started to relax.
I need to rest. Everyone, please excuse me for a while.
Yeah, I need to get some water and maybe a piece of fruit. Once I'm rested up, I need to get back to being an instructor again.
Well, it looks like the curse of the mountaineers who couldn't get off the mountain is finally broken. Feels like an action-packed chapter has come to a close. Shall we find somewhere to rest and chat too?
Why not? Then please, come with me.
Tatsächlich gibt es etwas zu sagen.
You sensed something too, didn't you? Then let's go.
Huh? Are you going back to your camp again? Paimon thought maybe we could
Einmal
talk
los.
here.
Paimon aus. Los.
Okay. Might as well come with you.
Good. Shall we set off right away?
Klar.
Ja.
Sorry for bringing you back here once again. Some topics are best discussed in private.
Is this about the imposter?
That's right. I have to say, Traveler, I'm very surprised you noticed the difference between me and the imposter.
Meinst du das am Hals?
Yes. This mark. Perhaps it's where it all began.
Ooh, sounds like the beginning of a big story. Keep going.
Well, I can't deny that what I'm about to say does sound like something from a children's storybook. So, what do you think this diamond-shaped mark means?
A tattoo? A crest? Something else?
Eine Narbe?
No. Consider it a birthmark.
Ein Bauchnabel.
Makel und Bauchnabel und Birthmark ist aber ein Unterschied.
Have you ever seen an intricate glass ornament and wondered how it was made? Well, one method for crafting with glass is a technique known as glass blowing.
Ja, davon haben wir schon gehört.
Glass blowing is not a widely known art in Teyvat. For this reason, glassware made in this way is usually very expensive.
Ist ja auch eine mittelalterliche Welt. Da ist Glas wahrscheinlich jetzt nicht ganz so. Obwohl, wir haben schon viele Fenster gesehen, also.
As the name implies, glass blowing involves blowing air into a hole, much like blowing up a balloon. This type of glassware is known for having a pontal mark at the point where the blowpipe was inserted, where the hole was sealed at the very end. This mark is a sign that the item was crafted by a human hand.
Sounds kind of amazing.
It is a wondrous and beautiful art form. Alice says that these marks are seen as proof of the maker's fine handiwork, the only flaw in an otherwise perfect work of art. My mark is something similar to this. The difference between synthetic and natural life lies in the directional flow of the life force. The energy of a natural life form flows out from within. That's why flower buds bloom and curled leaves unfold. And it's the very reason we watch and wonder at blossoming flowers. Creating life artificially, on the other hand, involves, to a certain extent, the introduction of an external source of energy into the embryonic life form. When the hole where the life force was infused is sealed at the end, it leaves a mark not dissimilar to the pontal mark in blown glasswares.
Ach, deswegen hast von Bauchnabel geredet, Eike, ja?
The alchemical substance drips and spreads out in all directions, resulting in this rather ingenious diamond shape.
Wow. So that's where it came from.
This mark is a sign of my artificial origins, and proof of my imperfection as a human.
Heißt das dann im Umkehrschluss, dass Albedo keinen Bauchnabel hat?
I presume that the imposter intentionally avoided replicating this mark, so as not to become less than perfect himself.
Ist das kein Problem, mir das alles zu erzählen?
You are fundamentally different from other people. I have few qualms about sharing my secrets with you. Just as Paimon said, it all sounds like a story. Even if you were to tell anyone else, they would regard it as nothing more than a tall tale. The transcendent and miraculous are not the only things to which human beings aspire. They pursue the everyday, the ordinary, to a far greater extent than I would have ever imagined.
Deshalb gibt es auch das Anderssein.
People like to believe that those who are thoroughly different from themselves could only ever exist in stories. It makes things much easier. Or, in other words, all the unfathomable things we've seen recently would make good material for a novel. I have friends who write novels. If they wrote this story, it'd probably be even more complex.
Making up stories is easy. Even Paimon can do that.
Oh, I didn't know you had that kind of talent.
Paimon's the best guide into that. Making up stories is a piece of cake.
In that case, how about we have a storytelling contest? We can base our stories on the events of the last few days.
Sounds great. But we still have to help out the Adventurers Guild.
I understand. Creativity is something that cannot be rushed. Take your time, and come back when you have found some inspiration. We'll see whose story is more compelling.
Deal! Okay, we'll regroup with the Adventurers Guild for now.
Sure. My story. Yes, I should have known. Master's failed specimen in the dragon's belly. This is where the story truly begins. If we switched places, if you were the survivor, then as the abandoned experiment, the failure of the primordial human project, I'd want to replace you too. I would replicate your appearance, study your alchemy, and create miraculous life forms to divert your attention. I would wait for the right moment, then dispose of you in the Traveler, the sole person to have known your secret. And then, I could finally experience the joy of being brought into the world.
Am Aufstieg der Teufelsblume. Okay, so, Eike. Eike?
Ja.
So, jetzt können wir hier auch nochmal öfter gegen die Teufelsblume nochmal antreten, um dann hier Teile zu bekommen, Punkte, Herausforderungen, um dann den Punkten hier, den Abzeichen dann im Shop, Sachen kaufen zu können, ne?
Richtig.
Genau. Ist auch gar nicht so schwer, oder? Ich meine,
Ist es eigentlich nicht. Du musst halt nur die verhindern, dass diese roten Klöpse wieder zu ihm hinfliegen. Da muss man halt wirklich richtig schnell sein. Und nicht die Kamera drehen und wie verrückt. Du wirst in der Aufnahme sehen, dass du eine übersehen hast, die da richtig schön auf der linken Bildschirmecke geblinkt hat und du es wegignoriert hast.
die habe ich nicht gesehen, ja.
Ja.
So, dann kann man wie mit der
Jetzt nicht.
wieder gegen sie kämpfen.
Geh mal zum, genau, geh da hinten mal, geh da mal zu dem Schneemännern.
Guess what? Paimon's story is finished. Let's go see Albedo again.
Sollen wir das jetzt schon machen?
Geh mal zu den Schneemännern.
Ich will das zu den Schneemännern gehen.
Ich will gucken, ob die Mädels da stehen oder ob du das jetzt verkackt hast. Ja, hast es verkackt. Die stehen hier nicht.
Eigentlich sollten sie es, aber
Ja, weil du das Event zu spät gestartet hast. Jetzt stehen sie hier nicht.
jetzt stehen Jula und Emma nicht mehr hier.
Richtig. Wie dieses Event für mich, wie dieses Gespräch für mich gelaufen ist, hier ein kurzes Beispielbild.
What kind of injurious weather is this? It's cold.
Oh nein.
Name des Künstlers ist in der Beschreibung verlinkt.
Ja, genau. Meinst du, wir sollen jetzt nochmal mit Paimon wegen der Geschichte nochmal hoch zu Albedo?
Selbstverständlich.
Der-
Sonst ist das Event nicht zu Ende.
Ja, der die Wopperflower, die sich mutierende anscheinend wohl selbst erfunden hat, nicht wahr? Erschaffen hat.
Nein.
Nein?
Steht schon, du hast es völlig falsch verstanden.
Interpretiert,
Aber
ja.
typisch steht schon.
Ja, das ist ja auch die Frage. Warum hat sich niemand gefragt, hey, warum hat die eigentlich seine Alchemieaufzeichnungen geklaut? Hat das erklärt, Eike?
Was?
Warum hat diese Teufelswopperflower, warum hat sie seine Aufzeichnungen geklaut?
Das ist keine Wopperflower. Wirst du gleich erfahren.
Traveler, Paimon. I suppose your story is ready.
Yep. How about you? Do you need some more time?
No need. I am also ready to tell my story.
Paimon calls dibs. Paimon first.
Please, go ahead.
Okay, here goes. Once upon a time, there was an evil researcher who went into the mountains and did a crazy experiment on whopper flowers to transform their appearance. After a lot of pain and suffering, the whopper flowers finally took on a human form. Then they stood by the side of the mountain to wait for unsuspecting bypassers.
Ich glaube, diese Geschichte ist näher an der Realität dran als gedacht, nicht wahr, Eike?
Wirst du gleich sehen.
To whoever spoke to them, they would ask some questions such as, who am I? Who are you? If the bypasser got the wrong answer, the last sound they'd make would be a yelp before the whopper flower ate them alive in one bite.
Ooh, truly frightening.
Paimon ist gruselig. Hat jetzt die Story oder Paimon an sich?
What the? You two aren't scared at all!
Vielleicht bin ich einfach zu stark. Ja, genau.
Don't go nitpicking, okay? If you didn't like the story, go write your own!
Nun, mit einem Horrorelement. Wenn Quilla einen Menschen gefressen hat, verwandelt sie sich in einen Menschen. Was meinst du, Eike?
Ja, nimm, was du willst.
In other words, the whopper flowers would ambush and then completely replace their victims.
Und benutzt seine Identität, wie schon vorher gesagt, ja. Körperfresser.
And then what? Go back to where the person lives? Enter their home? Eat their whole family? Ah!
Man könnte natürlich auch Wechselbeit sagen.
Paimon made up this story, but now Paimon's the one who's scared by it.
It's a good story. May I write it down? I may bring it up in future conversations.
What for? Just to scare people with?
Yes.
You've got a real mean streak, Albedo.
Was hast du für eine Geschichte?
Mine is a little longer than yours. It starts with an alchemist. A great alchemist once created Subject 1, Subject 1 was her proudest achievement, and successfully blended into human society. No one ever would have thought that this friend of theirs was in fact a synthetic human. However, unbeknownst to Subject 1, the alchemist had tried the same experiment many times before he had come into being. Some of the rejects from failed experiments had been discarded, but had not died.
Ah, Eike, siehst du es? Hast du es gelesen in den
Was?
Untertiteln? Alchemistin, ne? Schon ein Hinweis darauf, wer hier redet.
Was?
Eine Alchemistin. Weiblich.
Wie Alchemistin?
Na, diejenige, die ihn erschaffen hatte. Tante.
Ja, rein dort hier.
Ja.
Rein dort hier. Gold. Das wissen wir doch schon.
Subject 2 was one such failed experiment.
Rein dort
He
hier wurde
was
das in der ersten
swallowed by a
Folge schon
great
erwähnt.
dragon
Yeah.
that came to rest upon a snow-swept mountain. Many years later, he was resurrected by the dragon's mysterious power. He saw all kinds of people on the mountain, including Subject 1, who had somehow miraculously blended in among them.
Jetzt wissen wir endlich, wie das Ganze überhaupt entstanden ist. Diese
Amogus.
Amogus. Genau, diese Teufelspflanze.
Never in Subject 2's wildest imagination had he thought it possible for experimental life forms such as they to deceive everyone so successfully. He saw the way humans accepted Subject 1 as a friend, witnessed their affection as they addressed him by name. This was what Subject 2 wanted. Now, all that Subject 2 desired was to replace Subject 1 and take the joy of his existence for himself.
Sie wollte also nur ein Mensch sein, sozusagen, ja?
This is giving Paimon the chills. So scary.
Subject 2 began to unfold his plan. He stole Subject 1's books and notes, and studied all that Subject 1 had learned from the alchemist. Subject 2 was highly intelligent, and he learned quickly. He changed his face into an exact replica of Subject 1's face. Then, he found a plant with mimicry capabilities, and transformed it using dragon blood and alchemy. And so, not only did Subject 2 transform his own appearance to perfectly match that of Subject 1, he also created a third entity, Subject 3.
Eike, es ist wie
Ja.
Es ist wie bei Scream. Es gibt immer zwei Mörder. In dem Fall sind es also zwei Kopien gewesen.
What?
Ja.
There's 3 of them now?
But Subject 2 wanted to become a perfected human. So, he erased a mark in both his and Subject 3's necks. For these marks were symbols of imperfection.
Löschte mit Absicht?
In my view, it was probably a subconscious act, an instinct. He so desperately craved to become a perfect human being that he forgot something. Human beings are defined by their flaws. Subject 2's plan was meticulously crafted. Subject 3 would draw Subject 1's attention. After Subject 1 disposed of Subject 3, he would assume the threat had now disappeared and would let his guard down.
Das ist ein bisschen verwirrend.
The next moment that Subject 1 was alone, Subject 2 would make his move. He would eliminate Subject 1 and become the only one remaining. He would secretly replace the Subject 1 of everyone's memories and inherit his identity, residence, clothing, sword, name, and friends. People would have no idea that the individual they knew had become somebody else from one day to the next.
This is way too scary. Paimon's never gonna be able to trust anyone again.
Ich glaube, das hält sie nicht bei.
But just before Subject 2 could carry out his plan, a unique stranger entered the mix. Subject 2 tried to make contact with this person, but found that they could somehow sense he was different from Subject 1. What's wrong? Are you scared?
Nein.
What happened then? What happened to the stranger?
He became a new stage in Subject 2's plan, One more person that Subject 2 had to dispose of. It's as if there were 3 identical roses in the garden. Only one of the 3 was a fine specimen, while the other 2 were defective specimens that bore poisonous thorns.
Aha. So war das also.
In all the world, only the gardener who tended to them could tell which was the good specimen. People do not like poisonous plants. Only a perfect rose can fetch a high price. If the inferior specimens wanted to conceal the fact of their worthlessness, they would have to take the gardener out of the picture, using their poisonous thorns. This is exactly what Subject 2 was thinking. So, he hid in the shadows and waited patiently. Maybe soon, he would get his chance to become truly human.
Es ist nur eine Geschichte, aber vielleicht wohl eher nicht. Dies ist eine echte Geschichte, die passiert ist. Es sind diese brutalen und unglaublichen Wahrheiten, die Albedo nur zu sagen versucht. Aha.
That was intense! So what happened after that? Did Subject 2's plan succeed? Paimon can't bear thinking about it!
Fortunately, it is just a story. And even in this story, Subject 2 did not succeed. But you can never let your guard down on Dragonspine. Monsters mutated with Durin's power and blood are also creatures of Rhine-Daughter, just like me. You must beware of all such creatures.
Nein, so ist es nicht. Du bist nicht. Du bist mein Freund, keine Kreatur.
I'm glad to hear that. It's okay. I know what I am. You and I are both different, so there is no need for me to hide the truth from you. The only thing is that sometimes, when I think about how mighty the power of alchemy is, I feel so small. As beings who set foot in this world, how arrogant are we in desiring to control our destiny and in desiring to create? Is creation an arrogant act, traveler? If not, why do we call the ones that created us and control us gods?
Da könnte man drüber nachdenken.
If it is,
Ich bin bisher nicht darauf
then
gekommen, meine Eltern Götter
what
zu nennen.
qualifies us to call ourselves creators? How far must we take our reverence and respect? And what purpose does it serve?
Wie hast du dich gefühlt, als du den Hochstapel entledigt hast?
Nothing special. But whenever I think about it, I feel a twinge of grief.
Poor Albedo.
Hello? Traveler? Are you here?
Ja, wo auch sonst.
Hey, is that Amber?
Thought we might find you here.
We're here to deliver a message from Cyrus. There's gonna be a big event down at the base camp, and they want you there too, Traveler.
Okay.
Winter camp is nearing its end. Apparently, even provisional instructors are required to attend.
Looks like we need to go, Albedo. Bye for now.
Then I won't keep you. I have some things to attend to here, so forgive me for not seeing you down.
Don't worry about it. There have been no issues getting up and down the mountain recently.
Is everyone ready? Let's not keep them waiting.
Ein Geheimnis aus der Abschnitt. Neuer Abschnitt? Okay. Ach, jetzt geht's halt doch noch weiter, Eike.
Ihr habt doch gesagt, die Quest dauert ultra lange.
Oh, okay.
Ja, du hast ja die ganze Woche das Ding verschwitzt.
Nee, ich habe nicht verschwitzt. Ich wollte es aufheben, damit wir es dann aufnehmen können. Gemeinsam.
Ja, nein.
Doch. Weil
Sometimes the law is
dumm.
so
compatible with
dumm.
human
Ich,
nature,
weil wir
but
können es ja nicht
sometimes the
irgendwie
two
um 5 Uhr
conflict.
nachts aufnehmen. Das ist doch doof.
Balancing the two is a discipline in
Weil-
its own
Achso, wer eine
right.
Frage hat, wer der Artist ist, in der Beschreibung verlinkt, keine Sorge.
Alles in der Beschreibung verlinkt, die keiner liest.